What's going on, guys? Big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta, and today you're with D-Boy, and we are back with another video to talk about the Clan Selection Volume 1, and today we're talking about Narukami. So for Narukami, the Blood is making a comeback, of course, and we'll talk about his skill, all of the other cards that are revealed for Narukami, and also talk about the reprints and if there were the right card to reprint. If you are not following us on Facebook, try to follow us on Facebook if you like, because on Facebook we talk about different things like the art. We also talk about the lore, like Chris here told us a little bit about the lore from before the reboot for the Blood himself. So this is also pretty cool if you want to follow that. And otherwise on Facebook, on YouTube, I mean, we also cover most stuff that we also cover on Facebook. So you could follow us on YouTube or Facebook or whatever social media, Discord or whatever that you want. All the links are in the description section below. Also, other links that you find there are of course the links of the other videos that we have covered for the other clans, also as a volume 1 or volume 2 from the clan selection boxes. Alright, let's jump into Narukami. So first we have the Blood himself. Before we talk about him, let's talk about the old Kaiser Vermillion that we've got, which is of course himself, Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion. So this card right here, of course, has the ability that is said a counter blast of 2, it's once per turn and an act, and this unit gets plus 5k and a crit until the end of turn. If there are 2 or more rare guards in your opponent's front row, instead of getting a crit plus 1, when this unit would attack, it would battle all of your opponent's rare guards at the same time that are in the front row. So pretty much it is a front row wipe, but the thing is he only gets that extra 5k as in power, and it does cost you to count blast. And that's why this card was a double R, because it was good, don't get me wrong, but there are better cards, especially in Narukami, that could just get rid of the front row without even having to attack into it and bind it as well, while this card just put them into the trap zone. So right here we have the upgrade of Vermilion, which is Vermilion the Blood. And let's talk about his ability. So he has 2 abilities, the first one and the second one. Both of them are Act and both of them are Vanguard, which is interesting. 2 skill Vanguard, 2 skill Act. The first one is once per turn, it costs you a Count Blast and you put a card from your hand into the soul. Interesting for Narukami, it looks like a spike there. Skill from the Giara. But then until the end of turn, this unit gets plus 5k and drive plus 1. And when you would attack, it battles all of your opponent's front row units, and if you have a Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion into your soul for the cost, if you put him into your soul for the cost, then this unit gets a plus 10k and a crit. Alright, so let's talk about the first ability. So first of all, you put a card from your hand, you count plus 1 into your soul, and then he gets a plus 5k and a drive check, right? So drive check, which compensate for the put 1 card from your hand to the soul, so you break even, and also a 5k. And then the count blast would mean that you pay a count blast for a 5k and that he could attack the opponent's front row. That's pretty good, right? If you talk about him in comparison to the old one. Then if you put the old Vermilion into your soul, then he will also get the extra 10k and the crit, which makes him a huge beat stick because he will be 12, 22, 27 by himself, having an extra crit and an extra drive check, which could attack your opponent's front row. This is pretty good. I don't understand why people disliking him. I actually myself find this skill pretty good. Then we have the second ability, which is an act ability, also on Vanguard. You Soul Blast 1 card with Kaiser in its card name, and this unit gets drive check plus 1 until the end of turn. At the end of your turn, you deal him 1 damage. So you could Soul Blast the same Kaiser that you have just put into your soul to give him 1 more drive check, and you will take 1 damage at the end of the turn. That's pretty interesting that he takes the damage at the end of the turn, because you could still do this if you have 5 damage, right? And maybe you will drive check a heal trigger because you have 2, 3, 4, you have 4 drive checks, and also, if you finish your opponent off this turn, then it doesn't really matter if you take a damage or not, because you did finish them off, right? So I do like the fact that his skill worked like this, as his name, the Blood, because he's definitely not afraid of death. Also, you could read the skill, the Blood of the Dragon. Emperor has the Storm, the Thunder Dragon, the Power ability. That's actually what the lore is all about. That you could find that back in his flavor text, which is really cool that they brought that back. Alright, so that's for the Blood. Alright, so now we talk about the Grade 1 and the Grade 2 that support the Blood, right? Did we get the Grade 1, 2? Let me see, Narukami. Yeah, there we go. Because you have the Grade 2, the Grade 1. Yeah, we have them all. Alright, so let's talk about the Grade 2 first. So, Spark Arrow Dragon. First of all, the art is very Narukami-like. He has the act ability on Rearguard. If you have a Vanguard with Kaiser in its card name, you Soul Blast 1, you retire this unit, search your deck for up to 1 card with Kaiser in its card name, write it as stand, shuffle your deck, and until the end of turn, when your opponent's Rearguard would be retired, bind it instead of retiring it. This ability may only be used card with the same card name until the end of turn. So what this does is you have a Kaiser Vanguard, which is, let's say, the old Vermilion, if you didn't have the Blood, right? Then you Soul Blast 1, retire this unit, which is not a heavy cost, definitely not. And then you search your deck for another Kaiser, you write it, which you get another XL2, and also you will be drawing for the XL2, so you play 1 for 1 for this, and you have a Kaiser in your soul, which means that you could actually, if you want to, activate his second ability twice in that turn, because you will take 2 damage, yes, but you will have 2 extra drive checks, 3 extra drive checks if you count the first one. So yeah, pretty much it's easy rewrite. Does sound a little bit like gold if you think about it, but you do need a Vanguard with Kaiser in its card name, so it doesn't work if you are on Grade 2 or Grade 1, but pretty much it's pretty good. It makes the deck more consistent, and also the second ability of this card is also very good, or it's a part of the first ability, but pretty much all the cards that retire get bind, and that's one of the things that Vermilion missed if you compare him to the other cards from Narukami, which bind the front row. Now all the cards that he will attack will also be binded, and that's definitely very, very good, because if I'm not mistaken, guards also get retired, which means that those will get binded as well. Alright, then we get to the Grade 1, another card that gives you consistency to the deck, makes the deck more playable and stronger. When placed on Vanguard or Rearguard and auto ability, you look at the top 5 cards from the top of your deck, you search up to 1 Vermilion, or so the Grade 2, you could also search that, or the old Vermilion, and you put them into your hand. You shuffle your deck, and yeah, if you put a card into your hand, you discard one. I don't think that the discard was necessary, if you ask me, because lots of these cards are free, so I don't think that was necessary. Then the second ability, when your Vanguard attack hits, this unit get an extra 5k until the end of turn. It does sound that this ability stack, correct me if I'm wrong, because when it said when your Vanguard's attack hits, this unit gets plus 5k, so if it hits 2 or 3 times, then he will get more power. So this could be also a powerhouse if you have him as a Rearguard. Alright, so now we get to the reprint. So the first reprint is Kaiser Vermillion himself. It's a smart move from Bushi, because this was only a double rare, so it's not like a VR or something that they are reprinting. So I think it's very smart, because for new players to pick this up, maybe this will go up in price if and maybe they could not find it, so that's good. For this, another card that they decided to reprint, which was a promo, I think also from the Thank You collection, if I'm not mistaken, which is good that they reprinted this one. It's a 12k 10k shield promo, which has a continuous ability which said on Vanguard and Rearguard, if your opponent's front row if your opponent has 2 or more cards in the front row, then this unit cannot attack. It's good. It's definitely good because with this, you could put it into your deck because you pretty much will be removing most of your opponent's rearguards. But yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, a 12k, a 10k shield, but sometimes maybe could not attack. But yeah, I think that's 2 or more units. Yeah, should be alright if you attack like most of their units, and then they will guard mostly only the Vanguard. So I think you'll be alright playing this card. Then of course we have Rising Phoenix, a card that got lots of reprints, but is still definitely good to reprint yet again. We have had it in the Festival collection, reprinted. Lots of these cards are actually reprinted in the Festival collection, but it's still good to reprint it again because people will just pick this up and play the clan. Also, this would be reprinted in a triple R, which is good. And the same goes for the draw trigger. Being a sentinel, a perfect guard, it's always good to have these back. So the perfect guard, the Phoenix are very smart choices to reprint. This could be or was maybe a hard to get promo and a little bit expensive, so it's also good to reprint that. And then we get to Kaiser Vermillion himself. Always a good reprint if you're making a deck around him, because you don't want these cards to be unnecessary expensive, right? So we have the Great 1, the Great 2, and of course we end up with the Blood himself. If you ask me, I'm not a Narukami player, of course, but I'm definitely very happy that they brought the Blood back, and they brought it with a good ability, with a double-edged sword ability that you could do yourself damage and you could do your opponent damage. Also, his skill or the whole deck doesn't really rely on lots of counterblasts anymore, so that's good. If you think that your opponent is playing a kind of a clan that he doesn't want to do you damage, then this would also work because you could deal yourself a damage, a 1 counterblast that you could use next turn for his ability. The fact that you could also spam Excel circles, like 2 a turn if you use the grade 2 is also good, because if you write the Kaiser Vermillion on your first turn, then you use the grade 2 to go to the Blood. Then from that moment on the next turn, you will have 2 Excel circles, and you could write again to the Kaiser Vermillion, and then you could activate the grade 2 yet again if you have 1 more to go back to the Blood from your deck, which means that you actually will have 4 Excel on that turn, and you also are just going through your deck, so you have a better chances of getting that trigger, right? So yeah, I think a very interesting ability and a very interesting archetype to look into for Narukami. I know that lots of people will just love to play the Blood again. And that's actually it for this video. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Thank you for tuning in on our channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. We like all the support. We love all the support that you give to our channel. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Till next time, guys.